Hello, besties. I've tried recording this like 2 times and I keep losing my train of thought. So if this is a jumbled video, I apologize. There's like been so many things on my mind, so I just feel like this is going to end up being like a rant video. First of all, I want to talk about what I've been watching. Actually, before we go to what I've been watching, I finally finished Spiral, the second book in the Ring trilogy. God, it took me so long, unfortunately. Like, got really into it and read, like, most of the book in, like, a short span, like a burst of time. And then I put it down and then eventually got lost in other things. Went into a reading slump, so I wasn't really reading more than, like, a couple pages a day. A couple of days ago, I just kind of picked it up and I was like, okay, like, I'm gonna tell myself to read like 10 pages a day, like just to start kind of like getting back into my reading. I picked it up, I read like 10 pages one day and I was like, I have stuff to do, so I put it down. And then I picked it back up again and then ended up just like finishing like the last 50 pages of the book because it just like really sunk its claws into me. That's what I'm trying to say. My only thing about it was that, yeah, I literally went into a reading slump in the middle of it. It wasn't because of the book either. It was totally because I just, like, had put it down and I hadn't picked it back up. And, you know, it's not a book that you can, like, really... You have to, like, remember what happened to get back into it, you know what I mean? It's not like you can... It's very easy to, like, pick up and put down because there's so much information in that book, like, just constantly being thrown at you that if you forget it, you're like, do I need to go back and, like, reread this book? Like... Do you ever do that? So you kind of have to like slowly recall what happened as you're reading it again, unless you want to go back and reread the whole thing, which like I don't do enough. Most of the time when I just continue reading, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember what happened. It doesn't like get lost in my brain unless it's like been too long. I will say Spiral was pretty good. I feel like it was more like of a Ew, my carpet shedding and it just like was on me. I thought it was a bug. Spiral is more, I feel like, technical, like it's more sciencey, and they talk about like molecules and, you know, DNA and like mutations and shit. I am quite excited for the third book, but I don't think I'm gonna read it right now. Since the Spiral book, I kind of went into a slump, like a reading slump for. Like, I don't credit that to the book at all. Like, I don't think it was the book that did that to me. I honestly just like go in and out of readings, like reading a lot and not because of time. Like, if I feel like I can't sit down and relax and get immersed into a book, I just don't do it because then it takes away from the experience of reading the book. You know what I mean? Like, if you can't sit down and immerse yourself into the world of a book, what's the point? Isn't that what books are for, in my opinion? Like, you want to, like, literally hop in the book. Yeah, if I can't do that, I just end up not reading it because I can't understand the book because my mind is elsewhere. Yeah, I think that's just like I go in and out of it. But I did finish it. Yeah, hooray! I do want to bang out one more like thin book. Like, I have a book that's like 130, 150 pages. I chose Carmilla as being the next book that I was going to read before we go on vacation for Aiden's grandmother's birthday, and it's just like a couple days. It's honestly just for a couple days, but I'm excited to have a little trip and have a little sun because honestly this weather has been like kind of getting me down. I've been having like a little bit of the winter blues. I feel like in the winter, back when I was younger, I thought like I kind of thrived in the winter. I liked the winter a lot. I hated the summer because I didn't like showing skin, and I constantly wore like baggy pants and baggy shirts because I was just like insecure in like my body and everything. And I liked winter time because like I just liked feeling cold, and I don't know, it was just wild. It was wild. I don't know why I liked winter. Maybe it's the contrarian in me, but the Aquarius in me. Now I don't think I like the winter very much. I just think I like the idea of winter. Like, back when I was younger, it snowed more, so I think that's why I liked winter more, you know? It's a little, I feel like, in my opinion, less cold when it snows than if it's just fucking cold outside. You know what I mean? When it snows, it feels less cold. I enjoy spring and fall the best, so like right in between where it's kind of changing. I like summer too, until it gets too hot, and then I'm done with it. I'm like, get me out of here. And that's how I feel about winter. Like, I just don't like either extreme, whether it being too fucking hot or too fucking cold. I want it to be right smack dab in the middle. Yeah. I'm just like miserable when it's too hot and miserable when it's too cold. Like I can't dress either way. Like when it's too cold, all I want to wear is sweatpants and baggy shirts. When it's too hot, all I want to wear is like literally a bathing suit. Because I'm overstimulated with the amount of sweat. Because it's humid where I live. I live on the East Coast, so it's like humid. So it's just, girl. But yeah, in the wintertime, I feel like I get like more sad than in the summertime, because sometimes in the summer you can like push off the heat and be like, hey, at least I can wear like a slutty outfit, you know what I mean? But when it's fucking cold, you can't wear anything slutty, and you're fucking bundled up and like overstimulated with how many layers you have to fucking wear, first of all. Second of all, I end up not wearing something as cute as I want it to be because it's so cold, and then the consecutive days and months of having to do that and choosing comfort over cute, it feels like my identity has been ripped from me, and I'm like, no, who was that girl? She's not slaying anymore. Like, and when suddenly it starts like warming up, it hasn't started warming up, but it's supposed to, and in my brain it's close, like it's February, and it's like on the brink of like, once it hits March in my brain, I'm like, okay, spring, even though it's not really spring until the end of March, but my brain is already kind of like, please, any semblance of spring, just grip it onto that thing, like white knuckling it. Yeah, I just feel like my identity kind of gets lost in wintertime because I just don't have the energy to put into looking cute. I still do it, you know, I just do it less. I don't put as much makeup on, I don't get dressed as much, I don't go out as much, and then it just makes me feel depressed because then I'm like, what am I doing? All I'm doing is rotting. And then I'm just like, oh, like, am I going anywhere in life? And then I just have like this existential spiral, and I'm like, girl, it's just wintertime. Like, chill, it's just wintertime. The other day, actually, which is so funny, I was like snapping one of my friends, and I was like looking at myself, and I have not dyed my hair in like a month and a half, maybe more than that. And my hair, I don't know if you can tell, but it is like basically brown from here. I don't know if you can tell, but you can probably tell a little bit. It's like brown. You can tell way more in the sunlight, like it's streaked brown and black, like it looks interesting. But like down in here, it's like black. Anyways, what was I saying? Oh, I was snapping a friend, and I was like looking at myself, and I was like, something looks off. I know it's my hair. Every time my hair is not dyed like pitch black, I am, oh my god, guys, my bangs, I need them, they need to be cut. It's bothering me. My hair and bangs are not done. I feel like icky. I just don't feel like me. I'm like, something's wrong. I need to change something, until I dye my hair and cut my bangs again. I'm like, okay, everything's okay. This time around, it wasn't my hair and my bangs, I feel like. Anyways, what I was saying. Go back, rewind. I was looking at my face, and I was like, something's off. And I was like, oh my god, it's my eyebrows. It doesn't look off right now or anymore. Maybe in my last video it was. But I have been growing my eyebrows out because I had the sudden urge to have thicker eyebrows. Bless. I was born with naturally thick eyebrows. My eyebrows do not naturally look like this. Sorry, girls. I never thought I would touch them until I started like, well, first I was the victim of the, you know, the anime like bean brows. I don't know what the transition was, but I totally was like, okay, like I want to switch out from like, I stopped doing my eyebrows so intensely as much, you know. Back then I was like eyelinering my fucking eyebrows. You know, still I'm into it, but I like a softer brow. And I like them to look maybe not as natural, but I like them to not have like, back then it was like sharp point to my temple, you know, no arch, just point. Hi, I'm here, I'm editing this video, and I'm looking at these pictures now, and I'm like, girl, what? Those eyebrows look so slay. What are you talking about? I almost want to shave them back. Oh my gosh, this is the life of an indecisive hoe. Oh my god, I'm insufferable. And then I kind of came to the realization that I was like, okay, maybe this isn't the best for my face, you know? Although it's slay, it's a little like, I constantly look like angry and I want like a lifted look to my face. So I was like, okay, like I'm just gonna go and kind of make this like, I don't know if you can see that, but like this arch, this soft arch eyebrow that would kind of allow me not to always like have to do my eyebrows. I do them obviously when I do my makeup, but I don't do my makeup every day. My thoughts on it on me changed. That's what I'm trying to say. I don't think it's bad. I don't think they're ugly. I think some people can really pull off like shaved eyebrows too, which honestly I think I wish I could, but I don't think I could because I totally bleached my eyebrows at one point, and I bleached them and I couldn't get them like stark white. They were just yellow, and I like literally couldn't stop looking at my face. Like I look like a fucking alien. If I have a picture, I'll like pop it up in here. I couldn't tell if I liked them or not, and I had them for I think like a week, and then I was like, I can't do this, and then I dyed my eyebrows back, and then when I dyed them back, I was like, these look weird. Like my eyebrows look weird on now, and then I kind of missed them. So I don't know if I should do it again. I don't think so because I didn't like the way it made my eyebrows feel after. Like I was just like, they felt so crunchy, and I was like, is this ever gonna go away? I came to the realization that I kind of just wanted a naturally arched brow, and I think it works the best on my face anyway. That was my thought process. But anyways, I literally went on a tangent, but I was growing them out because I wanted them to be thicker because I was seeing like, I went and saw Nosferatu, and I was like, girl, slay with them thick-ass eyebrows. Does Lulu Rosep have thick-ass eyebrows? Now I'm, like, tripping. Am I gaslighting myself? She has thick eyebrows. Yeah. I saw her out, like, I will say, it influenced me. I was like, damn, okay, slay with the thick eyebrows. And, I was growing them out. I started seeing people with thicker eyebrows, and I was like, okay, like, girl, work. And then they started growing out, and I started looking at myself, and I was like, not on you, girl. Not on you. Keep the thin eyebrows. It looks better. It gives me more lid space. Like if I can also find another picture of my thick eyebrows. Pink. I think they were cute, but it's not the vibe I was going for. And it's not the vibe I'm going for anymore. And I do notice that now my eyebrows are thinner, I can do more on my eyelids. I do have, I don't know if you can tell, they're not like, I don't know if you would consider these hooded eyes, but I've always had to kind of like do my eyeliner differently because I can't do it like, up like this without it kind of having that little crease. So I do my eyeliner just like kind of straight out. I used to, like, back in the day when I was like really into anime, I still am, okay? But it was like my whole life, it was like the only thing I watched when I was a freshman in high school. I used to do my eyeliner like downward, and it like totally was like not in style back then. Girl, I was a trendsetter. I don't want to be pretentious about it, but I was. If I can find a picture, I'll stick it in here too, but like that's what I used to wear. Also, let me preface before this picture, I couldn't find any pictures of me in like cute girl garb, like the anime girl garb, but I did find a picture on my old Instagram, which is now private, so you can't find it. Don't even try. Of 2014, I think it was the second half of the year where it was cold, and I was dressing a little less cutesy because an incident happened, and it kind of made me put off on wearing those clothes, so. And I just like really desperately wanted to be like a pastel goth, kawaii anime girl, just desperately. And then I went through, my grunge phase, and then I went through like my stoner phase where I was smoking a lot. Not that I don't smoke a lot now, but I smoke a lot less than I used to, but it's still a lot more than I used to in high school because I live on my own now, but it's a lot less than I have been smoking in the past couple of years, you know what I mean? Cutting it back a little. Yeah, I went through like a grunge phase, and then when I started smoking, I went through a hippie phase, so I was wearing like a lot of tie-dye layering shit, wearing those like round like John Lennon glasses you get from like Party City, deadass parties, like literally would buy them at Party City. Then I went through like my experimental phase where I was literally experimenting with like patterns, and then I went to college, and then all of it died. I literally went basic as hell. And then I think when I met my boyfriend, my style was like, it went from like being experimental to just being like, you know, I'm wearing leggings and a shirt type of girl, just tight clothes. I would say it was flattering, but not as, you know, an era. And then when I met my boyfriend, I started going to the gym, and then my attire was basically like clothes that would fit me outside of the gym because I was gaining muscle. Like, I had an ass and thighs and upper body muscle and shit, so I had to find clothes that fit me. So I was wearing like skinny jeans that were like fitting that waist to ass ratio, my fat ass ratio to my waist. It wasn't that crazy, but like, yeah, you know, being a girl, it's hard to kind of find, if you have a bigger than average butt for your waist size, it's hard to find pants that fit your butt right, but then also fit your waist right without having that little pull thing on the back that everyone hates. I hate it. That was such sensory overload for me when I was a kid. I always had problem with pants when I was a kid because I was just averagely just a skinnier person. It was hard for me to gain weight because I was just never really ate that much. And lore. There's so much more lore based on behind this, but just dropping my lore right here. Yeah, I always had problem with finding pants, and I would always be like, why the fuck do pants never fit me? I hate being so skinny. And I just kind of struggled with that kind of image, but I never really thought about how my body looked in society and what society thought about my body until I got comments on it. And people, like, it was ridiculous. It's okay, when I look back, I'm like, girl, what the hell? Stand up. But in middle school, so my family kind of like, you know, poked fun at me, and they were like, oh, like, you don't eat very much, you're too skinny. And I was just like, girl, this is my life. I'm comfortable, and I eat like every like 3 hours, like tiny meals. I was a kid. I was like 11. And I never like really thought about it until it was like brought up to my attention, you know. And then, you know, there's incident in school where a couple people commented that I was like fat or something, and like looking back, I'm like, girl, you should have looked at your set and be like, are you joking? Like, are you blind? Because I was nowhere near that, and it was mostly because it was boys that had said that to me, and it like totally shattered my self-image. One thing I do want to clarify though about this situation is that, well, first of all, I was constantly being told by my family that I was like too skinny and that I needed to eat more. So then I would eat more, and then I gained weight, and then I would be told that like, you're gaining too much weight. So then like it gave me this like, okay, like, what's the problem? Like, what do you want from me? And then, so I was already fragile at this point, and again, preface from this whole thing, I was just a very sensitive kid. So I was always kind of melancholy. I always was like crying, and I had a lot of deep, large feelings that no one taught me to deal with. Like, my family doesn't talk about feelings. Like, it's like, shut your ass up. We don't talk about it. So it was a lot of me bottling up my feelings. Like, again, this is like so much more nuanced than what I'm giving you guys. There's so much more into this, but it was a little bit of a tragic childhood for me. Like, I felt so lost and so misunderstood, and no one actually was there to like hold my hand and be like, everything's okay, this is life. Like, it was kind of like, shut your bitch ass up, do your homework. Like, you're just lazy. And it's like, girl, I'm depressed, help me. But anyways, so it was kind of the flip-flop between like, you're too skinny, you're too fat, you're too skinny, you're too fat. And never once was I too skinny or too fat. I was average, normal girl. And then dealing with that, growing up, and then going to middle school, like being a fragile motherfucker, not knowing how to deal with your emotions, not really how, like, I had no friends except for like one friend that unfortunately I don't talk to anymore, but like I see her post and I'm like, you help me, you saved my life. But having that fragile ego and then going to school and then having boys pick on you and say shit as like a joke, to me it wasn't a joke. Like, it actually like fucked up my psyche. And that's the part where I'm like, if I had that kind of base level of being able to like regulate and understand that people are just mean just to be mean, it might have not impacted me as much, but it impacted me so much because I didn't have any of that. I didn't have an outlet. So it literally made me crash, burn, and spiral. Yeah. It literally ruined probably the next 10 years of my life with food. I'll give you that one. I don't think I'd ever sit and just kind of give a whole story because I don't think I would ever post it. The only way you guys are going to understand any semblance of my fucking childhood is literally just tiny little lore drops. That's all. That's all you get. But anyways, moving on. Recently, I have been enjoying medieval revival stuff. Like Victorian, I've always liked Victorian stuff, but Victorian specifically mixed with medieval revival. And then like I was like looking at all of this stuff on Pinterest. If I can find some pictures of stuff that like have inspired me, I'll like put them on screen so you don't have to just sit here and listen to me fucking yappatron. But I have really been enjoying like I said, medieval revival, Victorian vibes, and I have been looking at house decor. I was thinking about more in the bedroom. I kind of want it to be like romantic-y Victorian goth with like a bunch of lace and like, I wouldn't call them pastel, like more like washed out colors, like a blush pink, you know, like a light gray, like just kind of like all being enmeshed in one. Like this one picture, I'll pop it up in here, is like what I'm thinking of. I don't know, I've just like suddenly had the urge for interior design. Another thing that I've been really enjoying is Twin Peaks. Finished the first and second season of the show, Twin Peaks. So good, so nostalgic. It was my first time watching it, actually. It took me a bit, but I kind of was going slow because I didn't want to binge watch it. If I bust through this, I'm totally going to regret it. So I took my time. I kind of really like ran through season 1, which was really good. And then season 2, I ran through the first half, and the second half I think was a teensy bit harder for me to watch, because, you know, the killer gets revealed, and then, they kind of just start tying the story up at the end. Honestly, what I was mostly excited for was Fire Walk with Me, and I watched that last night by myself, and I cried for sure, and I got frightened and inspired. First of all, the way it was directed, like, I have yet to watch any other David Lynch film. Don't crucify me, please, Lord. It's been on my list for so long. I didn't even know Eraserhead was a David Lynch, why did I say it like that? A David Lynch film, until David Lynch came into, like, my kind of, like, frame, and I was like, oh my god! I have, like, all of his movies on my watch list. So, Twin Peaks was the one I started with, and then I watched Fire Walk with Me. Obviously, it's like the sequel to Twin Peaks. And it was so good. It was so tragically beautiful. Like, I connected with Laura in, like, some of the shit she said and some of the way she, like, portrayed how it feels to, like, have depression and, like, feel so lost. I really liked that portrayal. And I kind of liked how we finally get a perspective of what she was going through and not just of what everyone else thought of her. The whole time I was watching Fire Walk with Me, I was like, Laura! Literally, like, fucking crying my eyes out for her.
Oh my god, my Shayla!
Before we move on, spoilers ahead. So if you don't want to hear any spoilers about Twin Peaks or Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me, please do not watch, and then you can, like, skip to the next timestamp if there is one. But yeah, I just wanted to give that heads up because when I watch videos and people don't give me a heads up that it's spoiling it for me, I get very frustrated. But I will say, hold off on giving me any of the Twin Peaks Return spoilers because I'm not done with that yet. I'm on, like, episode 3. And I'm quite fucking confused. Sorry, I did that because there was, like, hair in the air, not just snapping at you. But anyways, moving on. One of the scenes that frightened me the most, honestly, well, first of all, Bob scares me a lot because he just, to me, is the epitome of a man that just, like, wants to touch you. He's constantly, like, doing one of these and, like, Like, he looks like he's fucking grabby, and he looks like if you give him a hug, he'll, like, sniff you and cut a lock of your fucking hair. Seeing him in the body of her father is frightening because you know that's the man that's underneath. Which, by the way, I will take it back to I think it was the first season of Twin Peaks, where I think Sheriff Harry Truman said, was it Truman or was it Albert? I can't remember, but he was like, maybe Bob is all the evil men do.
Maybe that's all Bob is. The evil that men do. Maybe it doesn't matter what we call it.
Now I can't look at it I can't look at it any differently than obviously we know in the movie and in the show that Bob is this supernatural force from the lodge. He's like a demonic entity or whatever. But me think in my brain that it could also be a metaphor for exactly that. The evil men do, the evil inside of men. Seeing those scenes where it switches from Bob to Leland to Bob to Leland to Bob to Leland is so frightening, but it's so profound in a way where it's like, oh my God, like, this is like, to me and my brain, I can't help but be like, this is the inner dialogue of a sick man. But the first scene that frightened me quite a bit in Fire Walk with Me was when she gets the painting of the door. I'll put it here. She puts it on her wall and she goes to bed. And she, like, wakes up and she, like, opens the door. She looks out there. There's nothing there. Looks back and she looks at the painting. And the painting is resembling the POV outside of her door looking at her. And that literally frightened me. I don't know why, but that is, like, so uncanny. Like, that is something I fear. I hate it. I actually rewatched it again this morning to kind of just, like, take it back in. And I rewatched it a second time and noticed that it seemed to mean a dream sequence, that she kind of saw herself in that thing, that she was in the painting, meaning that is the painting an alternate universe, because she wakes up and she sees Annie next to her, who is from from the end of Twin Peaks, who's Dale Cooper's love interest at the end. She's there, she's dead, but she's not really there. You know, she gives her the ring, but she wakes up without the ring. So it must have been a dream. Does that make sense? It's so surrealist. One thing I really enjoy about, like, so far, what I've seen of David Lynch's directing is the amount of surrealism in it, which really inspires me because that's kind of how I wanted to do my short film. Watching Fire Walk with Me and the way he really, like, used very simple scenes to make things uneasy. Some portions kind of almost reminded me of Poltergeist, like when she's looking up at the ceiling and it's a shot of the corner of the room. If I can put it in, I'll put it here, but a shot of the corner of the room, she's looking and it's like flashing at her and she's like, what are you? Like, who are you? That scene reminded me of Poltergeist. I don't know why, it just did. It's the flashing lights and then, like, you're looking at nothing. Like, you don't know what it is. Like in Poltergeist, you don't know what it is. The kid is just scared of something and shit starts moving. You know what I mean? This is one thing I will give away from my script. Anyways, I was watching Lynch's stuff and I was like, oh my God, this reminds me of the script I want to write and how I want to do it. Because in Twin Peaks, one of the main things I really enjoy is the fact that it's like a totally normal storyline of like a murder. It's like a normal, you know, the world me and you live in, but then an element of supernatural has been sprinkled into it so effortlessly that it fits so well that you're not sitting there questioning like, wait, supernatural? You know, like, what is the supernatural fucking element to it? You know, it just kind of fits in so well. And it's like one supernatural element that kind of has been elaborated and kind of just like spread upon. It made me think of my script because in my script, it's in that way, it's a seemingly normal world. It's supposed to be the world you and I live in, but there is one element in it that is supernatural that doesn't really get explained. And it just, like, I want it seamlessly fit in there. And I think I had done that with my script, but when I was watching Lynch's stuff in Fire Walk with Me, I was looking at it and I was like, okay, like, I could really make simple scenes have really big impact. Like, specifically, another thing that I thought was like a beautiful fucking scene, it's the end of Fire Walk with Me, and she's like dead, and she's in like the red room with Dale, and the lights flashing, she's all done up, and she's looking up, and she's like smiling, laughing, crying, and we see the angel, I'm assuming from the painting, and it's just floating there doing one of these. And like in my brain I saw that shot and I was like, oh my god, this is a beautiful fucking shot. I love how literal it is. I love how beautiful the angel looks. It reminds me of Romeo and Juliet, like the old Leonardo DiCaprio Romeo and Juliet. And it reminded me of Juliet in her wings, and I loved how it was just like floating there. It also reminded me of I'm Thinking of Ending Things. I'm pretty sure there's like a floating angel in that too or something. It was just like, it was like a play angel, like an angel you see at a play that's like floating, someone in a dress that's wearing little wings doing one of these. Like, I thought that scene was so beautiful, and just like, oh, there's so many things to follow. Like, it almost reminds me of Dark, if you guys have watched the German show. I'm pretty sure it's German, on Netflix. I think it might be on something else, but I watched it on Netflix, and it's 3 seasons, and it's like, it's about time travel, but I can't tell you anything else other than that. Like, if I tell you it's about time travel, it's almost a little bit of a spoiler, but it's not a spoiler because it's so crazy. You know, if you've watched Dark, you know what I mean. Like, I can't explain it with like 3 sentences. Like, it is so complex that it's like you're still like on the second watch, third watch, you're still picking stuff up, and you're like, oh my god. So that's kind of how like it is. Moving on from that, I'm so prepared to watch other David Lynch movies because I liked that one so much. And I keep hearing that Fire Walk with Me is quite underrated. If that movie to me was really good, I can't imagine what the rest of his movies are going to be like. You know, like, I'm really excited to watch Blue Velvet. My friend Hunter tells me that she thinks I'm going to really, really enjoy it. I think it was Lost Highway or Mulholland Drive. I think she said Mulholland Drive. But Blue Velvet and Mulholland Drive, Lost Highway, and Eraserhead have all been on my list for a kind of a while. Specifically because I've seen scenes in there about, like, not about color theory, but using color theory, like, really well. And I was just like, I need to watch those because they look awesome. Other than that, I think that's all I got today. I got on a little rant there for you guys, but I can't think of anything else. I could go on and on, honey. I could go on and on, but that's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I see you guys next Sunday. Bye, guys.